Welcome to another video. This is my June wrap-up. You'll notice I'm in a different location. We've moved to a new house, and that's the color this wall will eventually be, so you can just ignore the spot for now. I filmed part of this wrap-up before June was actually over, so I will show that now. Unfortunately, I returned most of these books to the public library, so I don't have very many of the physical copies with me, but I will post their covers here. So the first book that I read in June was Panic by Lauren Oliver. I enjoyed the book, but it wasn't my favorite. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It seemed a little slow in parts. There were some characters I wasn't really a fan of. Overall, I enjoyed the story, but it seemed like it was almost trying to be a Hunger Games type of book, but then just wasn't. The next book that I read was I Survived by Lauren Tarshis. It is a very small book. It was my June pick of the month from my TBR jar. It was very short. I think I read it in the time it took me to make supper. Definitely, I finished the book. I rated this a 2 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It wasn't super. It's a fictional retelling of nonfiction events. Definitely good for getting kids into reading nonfiction, but with fictional twists, so it seems more like it's a made-up story. Definitely, I would recommend it to middle grade students who are learning to appreciate other genres besides fantasy and fiction. The next book I read was The Girl with the Blood Red Lips by V.B. Marlowe. I really enjoyed this. It was kind of a retelling of Snow White, and it had like a horror kind of twist near the end of it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. There were parts of it that I wasn't a huge fan of, but at the moment I can't remember what those were. I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely looking forward to the next books in the series. It was only the first of books in the series, so definitely going to be checking the rest of those books out. Next, I read Delirium by Lauren Oliver. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I read it in an afternoon anyways. It takes place in a dystopian world where love is a disease and there's a cure that's been created for love. I laughed a lot of the way through it, not because the content was funny, but because the whole idea of love being a disease was intriguing and interesting. It did bring a lot of twists and turns into it. I kind of predicted the very end twists, but still kind of took me surprised at how quickly the end twist took place. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil the ending for you. Next book that I read was The Last Human by Ink Pepper. I don't know how to say the last name. I rated this only 1 out of 5 stars. I really did not enjoy this book. The next book I read was A Kiss in Time by Alex Flynn. I really did enjoy this book. It is a modern retelling of A Sleeping Beauty. It really tied together well Sleeping Beauty from 300 years ago and a modern boy from now who kisses her to wake her up. It was really intriguing. It was really well written. It was not a disappointment as far as Alex Flynn books go. I love retellings of fairy tales, and so this one was another one that I can add to my pile of really enjoyed. The next book I read was Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. I bought this less than a month, maybe a month ago, and I loved it. I devoured this book. I finished it very, very quickly, and I can't believe it's only book 1 in the series. I didn't know that going in, so all the way through I was hoping for all these loose ends to be tied up, and they were. And then right at the very end there is a twist, and it lets you know that this is not the end of the story, and that bugs me because I want it now. But I'll try and be patient. It tells the story of a girl who kind of discovers that she has mystical, magical type powers, and she needs to protect this boy that in the past she really has despised. It is comical. There's a little bit of adventure and romance and history, I guess, in the sense of like knights and castles and things like that in it. And it takes place in the South, and it reminded me a little bit of Heart of Dixie, which is a TV show that I really enjoy. All of these elements together, I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read What We Hide by Martha Jocelyn. I, again, did not finish this book. I really did not enjoy it. It wasn't coming together for me. I rated it 1 out of 5 stars. I thought maybe it would kind of tie together by around like page 50-ish. I would start to see connections between pieces. I really wasn't seeing it. I was reading it as an ebook copy and didn't like it, so I just stopped reading in the middle of it and returned it. Then I picked up Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I was really in the mood for something that I was pretty sure I was going to like, and I had two friends who commented on my other video, my TBR for June, and they said that I would love Graceling, so I decided to pick that up because I was a little bit frustrated after reading two ebooks that I hadn't really enjoyed. And so I picked up Graceling, and I was definitely not disappointed. I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait to pick up Bitter Blue and the last one, which I will be soon reading from my public library, and I really hope to get my hands on those books soon. The next book I read was Towering by Alex Flynn. I went into this with high hopes but was sadly disappointed. I rated this book only 2 out of 5 stars. It was okay, but it wasn't my favorite. It had really odd elements. There was kind of like a drug twist in the Rapunzel retelling, and it wasn't as well written as I had hoped. It wasn't as well written as the other books I read by Alex Flynn. So sadly I was disappointed, but I will still keep my eye out for Alex Flynn books when she does write other ones. Then I read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. I'd heard a lot of good things about this on BookTube, and when I saw it at the library, I picked it up. I really enjoyed it, actually. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. There were twists and turns in it that I was not anticipating. It follows a girl, I can't remember her name at the moment, that's really sad, but she has lost her mother to the cold, which is vampirism, and then her father kills the mother because she's going to attack the family, and that's not safe. She meets a vampire, they're taking him to Cold Town, adventure and total chaos ensues when they discover who this vampire really is. It tied together some really good elements of bringing in the past because vampires live forever. And so those parts were also really well written, telling backstory of this vampire, making him seem more like a person and a character that you could relate to, even though he wasn't really a living person. But it was really well written. I enjoyed it. I will definitely be checking out more by Holly Black. Actually, just this morning, I finished reading The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I found it to be an okay book. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. I might not have been really in the contemporary mood, but it seemed kind of slow. The character interactions seemed a little bit contrived. Sometimes they seemed a little bit unrealistic. It was all right. One more I read was Oblivion by Sasha Dawn. I rated this a 1 out of 5 stars again. It was an ebook copy, and I, again, did not enjoy it. And the last book that I've read in June so far, I still got the weekend left, is this book, Teachers, Jokes, Quotes, and Anecdotes. It is just published by Andrews McMeel Publishing. When I finished filming the wrap-up, there was still a weekend left, and so in that weekend, I finished 3 more books. I finished Ruby Red by Kirsten Gear. I loved this book. I can't wait to read Sapphire Blue and Emerald Green, but one thing I don't like about this is the cover. I like the original covers, or they might not be original, but the more viney cover where she was just a little picture. I like those much better, but this will have to do. I also read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. It is the first book in the Moral Instruments series, and I loved this book as well. I was really excited to delve into this world. I heard a lot about it, especially because City of Heavenly Fire just came out. So as soon as I finished this one, I decided that I would go to the library over the summer and get City of Ashes and City of Glass, the next 2 books in the series. And the last book that I read in June was called The Floating Boy and the Girl Who Couldn't Fly. This was an ebook copy. I wasn't really a fan of this book. I finished it, but I got to the end of it and went, well, that was a waste of my time. The story didn't really make sense. The characters were confusing. There were lots of things going on that just made the whole story not really work out. So unfortunately, I didn't enjoy that one very much. Overall, I had a very productive month considering it was June, so I was writing report cards and finishing up everything to do with school. But I did finish a lot of books. I enjoyed a lot, but then I didn't enjoy quite a few of them as well. Overall, I found it to be a really great month and a good start to my summer. I am now in my summer break, so I have, well, at the time of filming this, I have another about 6 weeks to go before school starts, so I have lots of time to catch up on my Summer of 50 challenge. I will post a link to that challenge for myself below. It's on my Tumblr page, so you can check that out. Thanks for watching. Keep your nose in a book.